So thank you for the video. So good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are from. So it's my great honor to welcome all of you here. This is our 10th online seminar organized by the Working Group of Coastal Zone Risk Mitigation and Management. And my name is Xiaowen Wang, and I'm from National Cheng University. And after the last seminar that we had back in April, we are very happy that we resumed our online seminar. And today, we are so pleased that we have our invited speaker, Professor Cheng JIA-LIN. And Professor Cheng is a good friend and also a good colleague of mine. And she is now working as an associate professor in the Department of Hydraulic and Ocean Engineering at NCKU, National Cheng University. And she has so many different comprehensive experiences in field and in academia. And her background actually covers computer science, ocean engineering, hydroinformatics, and so on. And if you go online, you can see more details of her background from her CV. But today, we are so happy to have her here. And today, she's going to share with us a little bit about her recent studies. And I think from her sharing, we can know better how we see numerical modelings and different analysis can support the management in the coastal zone. And without further ado, I think I would like to introduce Professor Cheng. And would you like to share your slides? And you can just speak and share with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Wang. And also thank you, Professor Wang and also Dr. Ye for inviting me to giving a talk here and have a chance to discuss with all of you. And I think it's a great honor to share our experience and also some preliminary study for the density current around Taiwan during the typhoon. So I would like to first put it full screen. Okay. So today I would like to share a numerical investigation of a density current and also some of the implication about the subsea cables with all of you. And so this work has been done by my student Wei Zhan, Shende, and Yu Qi, and also Andy, if you or your friends are also here. And thank you for all your contribution. And we also collaborate with people around Taiwan, like a National Taiwan University and National Singapore University, and also my previous advisor in University Delaware. And currently we have some observational plan with people from University of Washington. And so the research is still going on, and I'm welcome for all the questions, suggestions, and please feel free to give me feedback after my presentation. So the first thing I want to show is the picture. So maybe not everyone has a chance to go out in the ocean and see the two colors of ocean, because it's only happen after a high discharge of river water accompanied with a high sediment concentration after typhoon. So this year, this picture is provided by Professor Ma from University of Washington. And it's lucky for him, he fly all the way from Seattle and he got a good moment to observe the Gulping River, which discharge a lot of sediment from the river mouths. And the island here is the location Xiaoliuqiu, which may be familiar for people live in Taiwan. And this aerial photo provided by another of my friend live in Xiaoliuqiu. So this is clearly two color of ocean, and with some high sediment or fresh water in the right-hand side, and the left-hand side is the normal ocean color. And why we are interested in this kind of study, the reason is because we can use the internet, we can Zoom and talk with our friends outside of Taiwan. It's because of the help of many subsea cables underneath. So in the south part of Taiwan, the subsea cable is mainly built around the Fangliao Canyon in outside of Pingdong. And so those black lines are subsea cables, and some of them actually go across the Gaoping submarine canyon. So those red dots shows the deeper region of subsea canyon. So the deepest part can go down to 2,000 or 3,000 meters. But there's no way to avoid it. So some of the subsea cable actually come close to those canyons. So because the subsea cable is very important for communication, has a lot of important engineering applications. So also for people living in Philippines, and Gabby, he is is a researcher in New Zealand. So he did a statistic about when the subsea cable in this region will break. And he kind of concluded that in the past 5 years, he saw the subsea cable will break for many times, and some of them happened during a typhoon passage, but some of them happened during the earthquake. So I don't really know about the earthquake, but I'm more interested to study how the river water can come out and go into the canyon and go all the way to the subsea cable location. From the map, we probably think this is a short distance. However, it's like close several hundred kilometers. So we didn't know how the water can be so powerful, and we want to do some further investigation and understand how we can do some good measurement for those subsea cables. Okay, so this is a cute picture. Just want to show you that, hey, we have seen a lot of picture from the aerial photo, or we also can see the river plume from the satellite image, but we will never know what's happened underneath. Like those cute otters, you think they are swimming with their mom, but actually they may ride a bicycle. So the purpose of my study is to understand what's going on under the ocean, and that cannot be seen by eyes. So we need to use some equipment and also some numerical models. And this is an observation back to 10 years ago, or more than 10 years, from Professor Liu in National Yat-sen University. So actually, he has done this kind of experiment for many times, but only 1 or 2 times he successfully observed the occurrence of the density current in the submarine canyon. A lot of time, the equipment will destroy and they disappear or something. But this one is a nice measurement which show us that the first figure is the temperature. So during a typhoon passage between July 18th and I think last until July 19th, it has a higher temperature water coming from the land. So their undersea mooring actually observe those high temperature signal. And the ADCP signal also shows that the direction of the velocity is more like a unidirectional going seaward. And if you look at other times when the typhoon discharge is slightly weaker, the velocity observed by ADCP actually can go in shoreward or seaward. So the blue means shoreward and the red means seaward. And they also have backscatter, acoustic backscatter, which is acoustic the sound equipment. So we know if we try to propagate a sound wave under the sea, it can refract strongly if it meet a particle. So during the typhoon passage, acoustic backscatter signal actually increased significantly. So this is the kind of field evidence we have in Gaoping Submarine Canyon. And more recently, this paper published in 2023, and Professor Xu, he is from USGS and work on this topic for a very long time. And he has 3 deployment under the sea, but it's more close to the Philippines side. Because they cannot do the measurement too close to Taiwan. But they kind of get some interesting results. And they separate this density current to 2 different kinds. And they say, hey, the density current has one kind is called turtle or tortoise. And another kind is going faster and it's called hens. So the turtles can go slowly, but it can last longer for many days. But the hens is going really fast, and the fastest the speed they have observed is 1.5 meters per second. And it's also accompanied with very cold sediment. So it's possibly those kind of Hess type of density current can affect the subsea cable around us. However, those papers are observations, so they are in a fixed point under the sea, but they cannot reproduce and or tell us what happened from the river to the ocean. And also they cannot tell us the detail that, hey, how the ocean current or how the waves are going to affect the propagation of those density current. Is density current going to be enhanced, become stronger in the ocean, or is actually going to be decreased because of the interaction of those oceanic processes? So that's what we want to further study. And here I want to show nice video. It's from other lab, and actually in our department we also have another professor, Professor Lai. He studied density current. So it's nice to see the density current coming out from the laboratory experiment with very clear propagation processes from the channel to the open ocean, and the density current will become 3-dimensional, and is further going to have some interaction if it meets some obstacles like a stone here. So for me, I don't know how to do laboratory experiment, but we would like to use numerical tools. And so before that, we want to first prepare the data we want to input to our numerical model. So Yuqi, who is working with me 3 years ago, and we go to the Gaoping River, the upstream of Gaoping River to get some water sample. And also we collaborate with Professor James Lu, and he can analyze those water sample to different type of the grain size of sediment. And they also use LIST, which is another equipment to separate the sediment grain size, and also trying to understand what's the concentration of the sediment in the river. So the experiment was done during the rainy season, not exactly during a typhoon, because during a typhoon the water is like too strong. But within this 3 months of rainy season, we got quite a lot of data set, and which provide us the grain size distribution, and also a nice rating curve between the turbidity and the SSC. So we are able to use those data to for our model input. So this is just an example of a numerical model we use for study the Kenyan turbidity current. So this is a simple setup which just have a river input in the right-hand side and have ocean opening in the left-hand side. So this model is able to provide a sediment characteristic like sediment concentration, and also trying to include a different size of different grain size of sediment, and trying to model the sediment process with a different settling velocity, we want to use this numerical model to study more complicated processes in the submarine canyon. And this numerical model also has the advantage of that it includes 3 different kinds of turbulence closure. And the first one is Mary-Yamada. So if you are using an ocean model, probably you are familiar with this. This is like the default setting if you want to use the turbulence closure. However, it also have K omega and K epsilon options, and it's easy for us to switch and to see the difference. So later, I'm also going to show you the difference of model result by using different turbulence model. Okay, so again, if you are running numerical model, you're probably going to ask me a question that, hey, why don't you use non-hydrostatic model? Why you use a simple hydrostatic model? So here shows a video coming from Cobra's is a Cornell breaking wave and structure model. This is previously developed by Fields group, and we further implement it with the sediment probability, and you can see it can nicely simulate the process of turbidity current with this famous head and nose and body structure. And also it can nicely provide something people are interested in. Some people, if they are studying mechanical engineering, they are really interested in those convective sediment. And however, in our numerical model, it's hydrostatic, but I want to show you that it also has ability to simulate the location of this propagation, the density current propagation. And the advantage of using the hydrostatic numerical model is also because it can run in faster. So the student can graduate even faster and with a relatively precise result in their thesis. So here is a result coming from our hydrostatic runs model. So here shows the density distribution. So we can see the high density coming out in the bottom. And also we can see the strong velocity accompanied with the strong density, which is the characteristic of a density current over a slope. And this experiment was done by another researcher in the lab, and he has a 50-meter long water tank, and he used a UVP to record the location of a density current. So by detail comparing the experimental data and our numerical data, we can actually see the structure of front, head, and body can be seen in our numerical result, and also the location and the horizontal velocity, also the density can be nicely simulated by our numerical model runs. So here the dots are the green dots are the experimental data from previous research, and the blue, red, and black lines are the data from different turbulence models. So we have carefully compared with our result with the dots, and we found that the K omega and K epsilon model are actually better than the traditional Meyer-Yamada model in the typical oceanic model. And we are kind of comfortable with our model, and then we want to move our experiment from indoor to outdoor right now. Okay, so now we come out from our lab and we want to go to the Gaoping Submarine Canyon to see what else we also need to include in our simulation. So in the previous slide, I mentioned we have a setup with river input and then putting sediment inside the river. However, in the reality in the ocean, there are a lot of mechanisms like wave, current, and also in this location, there is a very famous internal tide or internal wave in this regime. So previously, there were several submarine incidents in this regime because the internal wave in this location can be more than 10 meters. So what are those internal things affect our hydrodynamic? That's the first thing we want to fix. So this slide shows the tide we have seen in our daily life. So it's the surface tide. So it can go up and down in 12 hours. However, the internal tide is something else. It's not exactly going together with the surface tide. So here the red curve is showing the temperature variation observed by a mooring near Gaoping Submarine Canyon. And in this location, we can see the red curve is actually out of phase with the blue curve. And the blue and black curve are the surface tide we can see use our eyes. And the internal tide here, we can see the observation in this red line, but the color in the background are the simulated temperature. And it also gives us some variation for this 18-degree contour line. And we can see the variation of this contour line is actually similar to this red curve showing here. So why we want to start this internal tide, I want to show you later because this is going to modulate the velocity in the canyon. Okay, so here give a snapshot of the numerical simulation in the right-hand side, and the left-hand side is a schematic drawing of the velocity field for the canyon and also the continental shelf. So what you can see here is during the ebb tide and the flood tide, the direction of the current velocity in the continental shelf is different. And that's because Kaohsiung is actually located in the entrance of the Taiwan Strait. And if we see another black row inside the deeper part of the canyon, we can see during the ebb and flood, the direction of the flow is also different. And during the ebb, the flow in the canyon is actually going landward, but it's different from the river direction. So in the river mouth, it's opposite. So during the ebb tide, because outside the river, the surface elevation is actually lower, so the water is actually going out to seaward direction. However, in the canyon, the direction of the canyon flow is in the opposite side. So all of this, I just showing you the complexity of the flow field in this location. But the numerical model is able to include all of them. So this is the model showing the continental shelf flow during the ebb and flood, and also the flow along the canyon during the ebb and flood is actually follow the trend shown in the left-hand side. It's a schematic kind of conclude the complexity of the flow field here. So after we understand what's going on in this location, and we start to compare the velocity with numerical between numerical model and observation. So we have observation back to 2008 from Professor Liu, and we actually try to compare the velocity, what we simulate with them, and then we got a nice comparison around 0.57 meter per second. And one thing we want to mention here is because the ROUNS model, the model we use is developed by the USGS in United States. So it seems their temperature of the ocean is kind of lower. So in order to implement it into the South China Sea area, we have modified the equation of state to make the water kind of warmer and lighter. So we can further study the density current propagation in this area. So now we want to show some process about how the density current can come out from the river and go into the canyon. And it's actually not very easy because as we mentioned before, the canyon flow can push the river plume going backward during the ebb tide. And so in the beginning, so the first figure shows the tidal elevation. So we can see it's ebb and it's flood. So the second figure is the discharge. So the discharge is actually going up during the typhoon passage. But in the very beginning, when the discharge is relatively small and the tide is also going ebbing, the sediment coming out from the river mouth is not going into a canyon, but was pushing to the Pingdong side. So it's kind of explain us that why our subsea cable is not always breaking, because this density current may not always happen when a typhoon passage. It needs to have a right tide and also a good discharge. And furthermore, we try to simulate the density current propagation during the flood tide. So during the flood tide, because the canyon flow kind of changes direction to the seawall, so it further drive the density current going downstream, and it can further propagate all the way to a location where we put our mooring. Okay, so here I try to draw the along channel properties like the slope and the thickness of the density current. And here we also use a one-dimensional theory, which is the gravitational force is equal to bottom friction in a 1D one-dimensional equation. And we can see that this one-dimensional theory is basically fulfilled in the location in the downstream of the canyon. However, in the upstream of canyon, it seems more complicated because in the canyon head, the slope is relatively steeper, and also there is some two-dimensional or three-dimensional process involved. And in this figure, we also see that by putting different grain size, we will observe different thickness of density current, and also the gravitational force, the strength of the density current is different. And actually in our field, we observe 4 different categories of the sediment. But the first category is considered as clay. It's a very small particle. So when we put it into our numerical model, we actually cannot get the density current. And this is possibly because of those particles are too small. So it's going with the surface plume, but not going with the density current underneath. So in this figure, I want to further show you the 3-dimensional effect at head of a canyon. So if we try to draw the cross-section in the head of the submarine canyon, so it's a location where the river sediment just coming out to a continental shelf, and because between the river mouth to the canyon, it has 2 kilometers of distance. So the riverine sediment is actually not go directly into the canyon, but it can go spreading to the side of the river or the side of the canyon a little bit. But furthermore, you can see there is some lateral velocity going cross-shore direction, drive those sediment further into the canyon. So in this canyon process, not only the along canyon velocity is important, it also has some cross canyon velocity involved in the process. So the velocity in the continental shelf is actually important, and that's something we are further studying. So this slide, we want to further discuss with what is actually the criteria to trigger this kind of density current. So in the previous slide, we say, hey, the discharge must be large enough and the tide need to be a right direction. However, if we can talk about a non-dimensional parameter to quantify it, I think it will be useful for other locations, maybe not only in Gulfin Submarine Canyon. So in this slide, we try to draw 2 criteria which were commonly used by previous study. So in the reservoir, density current is also very important. So during a typhoon passage, the density current may bring a lot of turbid water into a reservoir. So in the, I think 10 years ago, we still have a lot of issue about the turbid water going to a reservoir. So we need to shut down the water usage for several hours until all the turbid water settle down in the bottom. So in a reservoir, people always use the criteria of flow number to define if the density current will happen or not. And the other criteria people always use is the sediment concentration. So this is back to 50s, and some classic literature, they use the sediment concentration. If the sediment concentration is greater than 35 or 40 grams per liter, they think the density current will occur. And if we read a lot of literature in the reservoir, they believe the flow number greater than 0.8, the density current will occur. But in our situation, it seems flow number and the sediment concentration are not really a criteria, because in the beginning, when the density current occurs, show us this orange dots. So this spar, this curve is located in the river mouth, and we can see some figures like July 28th, 9 p.m., 11 p.m., and 1 a.m. In the right-hand side. So we can see even the flow number, the blue curve going down, going up, it seems doesn't affect occurrence of density current. It's kind of occur in this orange point, and it's continuously keep running downstream. And for the density, for the sediment concentration, is also very low when the orange point, in this orange point. So typically people think 40 grams per liter might be the criteria, but in our case, we only have 25 grams per liter. So it seems there must be another criteria to determine the occurrence of the oceanic density current. So we utilize another parameter, is Richardson number, which is defined by the density gradient versus the turbulence strength. And we found that when the Richardson number is smaller than a quarter, the density current actually can occur. And this is also shown in these two figures. These are the Richardson number during the ebb tide and flood tide. And if the density, if the Richardson number is smaller than a quarter, we use a green color to represent it. So if we see this figure and compare with the density anomaly figure over here, we can see if we see a lot of Richardson numbers more than a quarter, the red color, which shows the high density water, also showing in the same location. So in this session, we kind of found that the Richardson number is a useful criteria for us to determine if the density current in the ocean will occur. And in the last part, we want to go back to the subsea cable application. So there were many studies related to the subsea cable, and they used some laboratory experiment to design the subsea cable. So typically, they will have a condition like an inflow in a tank, and put a subsea cable section over there and see if the subsea cable can be destroyed or not. But in a tank, there are a lot of limitations, like they cannot adjust the discharge to too high, or they cannot use the realistic concentration in the ocean, or they cannot use different settling, different grain size in the ocean. They probably need to scale it down a little bit and altogether scale down other parameters. So in our study, we further utilize the numerical model we have calibrated to related it to the subsea cable design. So we only do a simple calculation because there were many parameters for subsea cable design, like lifting force, inertial force, and also soil resistance. They are definitely important. But what we try to resolve now is just if the current acting on the subsea cable, what is the drag force in this condition? And this drag force will give us an important parameter for designing subsea cable. Is called distributive load, which is defined by the drag force defined by the area of the subsea cable. So in our numerical test, we try to use a range of river discharge, also a range of sediment concentration from the river, and also a lot of different settling velocity. And we want to try to know how is better to design the subsea cable, and we want to know what is more important parameter in the environment for consideration in this design. So basically, we found that the concentration is actually not very important, because when the concentration is below than 20 grams per liter, we can see the current velocity is nearly zero, and also the distributed load on the cable is nearly zero, so it won't destroy the subsea cable. When the sediment concentration exceeds 23 grams per liter in our study, we show that there are some distributed load occur, but this distribution load is actually not proportional to the increasement of inflow concentration. But if we check the other two parameter, like increasing the discharge or increasing the settling velocity, the correlation between the current velocity and the discharge, or the distributed load with the discharge, the correlation is very high. It indicates that if there is a high current velocity, the distributed load will increase, so it possibly will cause the destroy of a subsea cable. And the other thing is we also found that the grain size of the river in sediment. If the sediment coming from river has bigger settling velocity, so it means it is a heavier grain, is possibly going to cause more severe damage for a subsea cable. Okay, so that's generally what we found right now, and I would like to use two figures to summarize our finding. So in the very beginning, I show everyone area photo and also some observations from the surface, and we can always see this blue part of the surface pool. It can go outside the river, but in the Gaoping submarine canyon system, it actually cannot go very far. It's probably just approach the area of Xiaoliuqiu during typhoon. However, underneath the surface, we use our numerical model to further assess the possibility of the density current going all the way to the regime with subsea cables. And we found there were several parameters. The physical parameter can affect the speed and some physical quantity of density current. So for example, the internal tide, which can change the density, and also the velocity direction of the canyon flow. And also in some location, when the canyon slope is relatively steep, it will enter a regime of auto acceleration. So this density current in the canyon actually can sustain itself and going very downstream to the South China Sea area. And if we have a plan view of this of the river ocean system, we can draw like this. So when the water with sediment coming out from the river, it will go first spreading to the two sides, but very quickly because the velocity going out from river, so the 3D expansion will cause the current velocity in the ocean is actually smaller, and the sediment coming from a river will very soon settle down in the two sides of the canyon. But if the river is not going out in the two sides of a canyon, is going directly to the canyon itself has a steeper slope, and also it has a confinement effect to keep those water with sediment, and then keep those sediment with the density current going downstream to the South China Sea area. So here is some of our finding based on the Gaoping River study. And I would like to thank all the contributors, and if they are online, thank you for helping on the study. And also, I will thank you for everyone's listening, and you're welcome to give any suggestion for our further study. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheng. So it is a very comprehensive and interesting study. And well, I personally, didn't realize that our subsea cables would be destroyed because of the density current. But your study is so clearly illustrating, based on the field studies and also the numerical modeling. I learned a lot, so thank you very much. And today we have a very group of participants joining. And we already have some questions and comments in the chat box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess now I see like there are two sets of questions. And the first part is, well, Andy and Isabel were like discussing about the Coriolis effect. Is that happening in the study area? And if you can read the chat room, and you can better know what I'm talking about from Andy and also Isabella. And the other question is from also Andy about the inflow concentration. So it's pretty much referring to the difference between the C and D diagrams in that slide, and if you can explain the reasons for these differences. And if Andy, you want to further explain your questions, feel free, turn on your microphone or turn on your camera to interact with our speaker. But Professor Cheng, if you would like to respond to the questions here.
Okay, so thank you for the questions. And I think I will read Andy's question first. And then Isabel, and if you have any further questions, you are welcome to use the chat box or just open your microphone. So the first question from Andy is there any Coriolis effect to the spread of density current in a gulping submarine canyon? As I know, the bathymetry of canyon is very different with the ordinary surf zone. Yeah, so I think it is a good question, and that's also something we are working on right now. So the figure, I think one of the figure I show the lateral expansion of the canyon. So this is the figure showing the river water with sediments first going into the canyon, and also some other water will go into a canyon through the lateral direction. So this lateral direction flow is actually affected by the Coriolis effect. So this lateral flow is going to be stronger if the F is actually larger. So I haven't done the test, but I believe if we turn off the F, the Coriolis turn, we might see very little or non-lateral flow here. I think that's a good question, and we can keep track on that. And the next question is in a such close proximity to the equator, the Coriolis may not have any significant effect, I recall. So I think in this location, the Coriolis effect should be weaker. But I think we still need to double check that if we totally turn off the Coriolis effect, if the lateral flow going to be much weaker, and in what order, I think what percentage, I think that's a good question. We need to quantify it more detailedly. So next question. Yeah, and also just try to clarify the Coriolis question. So actually in the momentum balance equation, the Coriolis turn is in the x direction is replaced as FV. So that's also what I show here. The vertical, the strong lateral velocity is actually related to the along channel velocity. So if the V, which is along channel velocity, is stronger, the FV turn will be larger, and it's going to feed back to the x direction of momentum balance. But this is just like a theoretical. I think we should do more investigation to answer Isabella's question. And so Andy, to do the inflowing concentration, we could see the difference between C and D only 2 hours. The turbulent current on the surface back to shoreline going shoreward. What's the reason of this case? So this is I think you are mentioned the you mentioned this page, or maybe the other page. I think this one I have hours. And this page, I cannot show page number. Oh yeah, okay, it's this page. So Andy is asking, we could see the difference between C and D and this is a snapshot in 2 hours. And the turbulent current on the surface going backward. And what's the reason? So this backward might be due to the tide. So we have seen in this figure. So the velocity can go backward during the ebb tide and during seaward during the flood tide. But in this figure, because we didn't have the detailed time stick here, so I cannot really tell you which one is ebb tide or which one is flood tide. But I think the backward and forward velocity in the along Kenyan direction is probably due to a tide. And the next question for Hassan. Please, can we obtain the record slides? Thank you. So,
For
can
that
you
question,
tell me
in the
which slide?
The organizer will upload the recorded video today.
Oh, okay.
So Professor Cheng, you are good that you can share the slides.
Oh, okay.
Because we do record the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Oh,
Great.
okay. Yeah, so he mean entire slide. I was thinking which slide. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm happy to share the slide. And
very good.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's all the questions, and they are great questions.
Yeah, we received so far from the chat box. But do we have any other questions or comments from the audience? Well, you can just turn on your microphone, your camera, and interact with the speaker, or you can also, well, leave your message, your question in the chat box. Yeah, so maybe some of you would like to think further, but I believe Professor Cheng is happy to receive any further questions and comments, right? While we are still checking if we have further questions and comments, so let me do some like advertisement again. So this is the 10th online seminar organized by the working group, Coastal Zone Risk Management and Mitigation. And this working group is under AOGS, established about 1.5 years ago by coordinated and led by Professor Ip from National Central University. And I guess Professor Ip is also online with us, probably. But in this 1.5 years, we believe that knowledge exchange or information sharing will be one of the keys that this working group can better know each other and see the potential to work further together. So that's why we organized this online seminar. And originally, we hope to have this online seminar run like monthly, but because of all the kind of like a different busy schedule from our invited speakers, so we now like regular or irregular, organize the sessions. But we are happy to announce that in the coming month, in October, we will have 2 upcoming seminars. I think one is on 12th October, and the other one is on 19th October. But you can check our website to have more information. And for those of you who are not familiar with working group or who haven't interacted with any of the members of the working group, but you are interested in knowing more, please feel free to let us know, email me or email the organizer, and then we can see how we can also invite you to share your research study with all the people, the community here. So this is a little bit of the advertisement, but hopefully that the working group can facilitate more discussions and interactions. Okay, so let's see if we have further questions, comments from the audience. I don't see any. And I don't see any raised hands and no further messages in the chat box. And Professor Cheng, if there's anything that you would like to add before I close this seminar today?
Thank you for listening. And if you have any question or any other comments, welcome to email me. Or I think somebody also asking for a recording slide, and I think maybe you are interested in this type of study, and we are putting a mooring next year as well. So yeah, if you are interested, you're welcome to join us to test in the rapid type of tensity current. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much again, Professor Cheng. Again, you're very informative and comprehensive presentation and sharing. Thank you so much. So I think this is now the end of today's seminar, and I thank you all for your participation and looking forward to see you all in our next seminar, which will be on 12th October. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Cheng, again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang.